Now, Lou, we go from just talking and catching up and hearing about each other to, oh, we're live. It like flip of a button. We're here. We're ready. Everybody, for the Remodeler Show today, I have Lou Orazem with Inspire Homes up there in the Great White North of Canada. Lou, welcome.
Thank you, Kyle. Thanks for having me. And I'm in Toronto, so
Toronto,
just
Canada.
a little bit east of you, Kyle, and east of where many of your listeners are from.
Yes, in sixth grade, the sixth grade class took a trip to Toronto, and I remember them talking about Toronto as one of the cleanest cities in Canada. Is that still the case?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Okay.
cleanest in North America. Yeah.
There we go. And then I remember going up in the CN Tower, and it was quite impressive.
It's a great view from up there.
And I also remember holding hands with Nicole Beale.
I don't know who she is.
You don't? No, you don't. But I remember, because it was kind of like that first, like, oh, we're on this trip in sixth grade, and hee. And I remember holding her hand. Fond memories of Toronto. Fond memories of Toronto. But that's not. We're not here to talk about Kyle's hand holding or romantic history with not really a lot of girlfriends. I married my high school sweetheart. But we're here to talk about marketing in particular today. And the format for today's Remodeler Show is I put it out there to the community. Hey, would anybody like to kind of share what's working for them and what they're up to? And Lou raised his hand and said, I'd be happy to do that. And Lou, the first time you kind of said, maybe we'll talk marketing, we'll talk sales process. And then as you 5P'd for this meeting, proper preparation prevents poor performance, you put some thought into it and said, you know what, if I'm going to share with remodelers what's working, I've got enough here just on marketing that I think it'll be great to focus in just on that topic today. So that sounds awesome to me. And why don't you give everybody just a little glance at your business and kind of the size and what you do, and then we'll kick it into some of the marketing things that are working for you.
Sure, absolutely. So full service design build company. We do house additions, large renovations. And so I'm going to use the word renovation a lot because
I know, because you're Canadian. I know.
So 10% of the people up here will use the word remodel. 90% will be renovation.
Yes.
So
and I should have changed the name of today's show to the Renovator Show.
The Renovation Show, absolutely.
Yeah.
Average job size 120,000. We'll do 1.75 million in a typical year. To 2 million. That's a typical type of a year for us.
Okay.
There's a full-time designer on staff, some lead carpenters, and me.
Excellent. So this topic of marketing, maybe even give a little background on how 2020 has treated you, and then let's get into some of these marketing items.
Yeah, so 2020, we came into the year with a number of projects in design. And when COVID hit, everything disappeared. Literally everything we had in design got wiped out. And we knew that we would have to figure out how we're going to carry forward. The other issue we had was that municipalities shut down, and they stopped taking in building permit applications. And 90% of our work is building permit work. So we're looking at this going, we have nothing in design. Even if we do, we can't get building permits. How's this year going to go? How are we going to keep the people employed? And, there was a point in April where I was thinking I may have to lay off or cut back the hours on most of the people on my team and go down to a zero salary myself. But none of those things happened.
Excellent.
None of those things happened. Our revenue is still going to be down significantly this year. We'll probably be down 60% over what our typical year is. But obviously marketing was a big focus for us.
Yeah. If I can make one
yeah.
comment on even what you just said, the debt being down 60%, and I think some people, and because we're driven entrepreneurs and we're driven business people, we have these goals, and you sound like somebody who knows his numbers and tracks things, and we'll get into kind of how you track your marketing. Even the fact that you're like, okay, I'm projecting that we're down 60%, and none of that happened. So to celebrate that, even though we're down 60%, I've still been able to keep people employed and make this work. And number two, we just need to realize this year for a lot of people is just, if we were able to tread water, or if we were only, if we only had to go backwards a little bit, that's a win. And I know it doesn't feel like a win because we're driven, and I wasn't able to put this in retirement. I wasn't able to do that, but we're going to turn the calendar year. Still going to have some pandemic stuff probably, but we had to lower our expectations and realize, surviving this year, getting through it, having my head on straight, continuing to encourage and have my team around me, that's a win. And we need to maybe lower our bar of what a win looks like this year. Is that fair?
Absolutely. For us, keeping the team together was the number one goal. I wanted to keep the key people on staff. Yeah. Because that's the hardest part to rebuild.
Yeah.
Things can pick up very quickly. You can get some good leads in, a couple of good jobs come in, but then you have nobody to produce them.
Yeah.
Or nobody to design them. So
Jim summarized it: live to fight another day. That's kind of
absolutely. So for us, keeping the team together has been a big win, and our customers appreciate it as well. When I talk to my past customers, they are thrilled that we are surviving and that we're keeping our people together.
Cool. All right. So marketing. Teach us about what's working and how you're approaching marketing.
Yeah. So on a typical year for us, we get 200 leads in or so. Last year, on October 22nd, year to date, we were at 174 leads. This year, as of this morning, we are at 318 leads. So our leads are up 80%. And most of that has happened since June 1st. So June 1st to October 22nd, 2019, 80 leads. June 1st to October 22nd, this year, 210 leads. And guess how much money I have spent on marketing since June 1st?
I'm going to guess a goose egg.
Absolutely. $0. Okay. I have spent nothing on marketing. So our marketing budget typically, in a typical year, is somewhere around $8,000, which includes website hosting and security. It is our newsletter. It is our professional photos. That's a key thing for us to have pro photos on our website. And it's entering a few projects into renovation awards. So that's the majority of our budget. $8,000 a year, and we've, driven 200 leads in. So I've been happy with those numbers. But since June 1st, like I said, I've spent nothing. We cut our newsletter, although
hold that. We'll talk about kind of some of the things you're doing. One, $8,000 on a $1.75 million remodeling business comes out to about 0.5 or 1%. So it's still a fairly small marketing budget. A lot of remodelers like to ask that question: what should my marketing budget be? And here you're generating the leads that you need to on a given year, spending $8,000, right? And then even this year, you're being even savvier and spending less, and bringing in more. So that's interesting. There's the marketing budget is not a be all end all indicator of how to generate leads. It sure helps, but there's a lot of ways for low cost to generate leads. The other big thing I want to draw people's attention to is that I'm guessing you're glancing down at a sheet of paper.
I am, yes.
Hold that up for the people. Oh, these are notes you took. Okay.
Yeah.
5P, proper preparation prevents poor performance. It goes better when we prepare. But when you're looking at down, you pulled that data, from June 1st to October this, we generated this, from this to this. You're tracking your leads. Everybody, we have to track where our leads are coming from. We have to just track our number of leads. You can see trends. You can see where your best leads are coming from, and what gets measured gets improved. There's so much data and decisions that you can make wiser when you're not relying on kind of your gut feel. So make sure you're asking, hey, how did you hear about us? Make sure you have a simple system to track how you do that. How do you track it, by the way?
Just use Excel.
Okay, simple.
Although we may have to, if we're going to be doing 300 to 400 leads a year, we may have to do something different. It works for 200, but
getting a little clunky.
Once you started getting to more, it's fine to track, but it's also other information that goes with it.
Okay.
So we track type of project it is. We track how they found us. We also have a secondary how they found us. So if it's social media, was it Facebook, was it Instagram, whatever. But if it was a referral, then, who was it?
Good.
Right? So we also can track how many customers. So we have primary lead source, secondary lead source. We track geographic location. We track it how the lead came in. Did it come by phone? Did it come by email? Or did it come through our web form?
Okay. Good. Excellent. All right. So how are we up 80%? What is working when it comes to marketing? What's generating these leads?
Yeah. So one of the things I did is I cut our newsletter, but I didn't cut contact with our customers. So I cut the newsletter to save money.
Okay. You had an outside company helping you with creating it?
Absolutely. Okay. But I just turned it into sending out a simple email to the customer saying, hey, we're still open. This is what we're doing to work safe. Okay. Here's a couple of links to new stuff we posted on our website. And people loved it. Had a 40% open rate.
Excellent.
And we are going to go back to the professional newsletter next month or beginning of January.
Okay. But also, I think that is helpful for people to hear. You already had content out there that you were posting, maybe on Facebook or on your website. Having an email list where you have all of your clients in there, having the ability to set it up. It's not super complicated, and just you repurposed content that you were already putting out there, right? Which didn't require a lot of time. And so I think sometimes don't overthink it. This doesn't need to be 100% fresh content. But yes, we need to be reaching out to clients. Okay, so that's one piece.
Yeah. Good. Another piece is website content and landing pages. So content is king, in my view. So one thing we did is we looked at all the project pictures we had on our website. So we have renovation projects, house addition projects, and we looked at how many people click on each picture. And we got rid of all the projects that people were not clicking on.
Interesting.
Because they're just not resonating with people, right? So, if one person a month is clicking on this bathroom renovation project, why do we still have it on our website? Obviously, this is not the style that people want. So we kind of curated our project pictures and put on the ones that are the most popular, the ones that resonate the most with people, and stuck with those. And otherwise, that's the only thing I take off the website. Everything else that goes on, if it's a blog post, if it's a landing page, it stays. Okay. Everything we put on there stays, but project pictures do change. And leaving that oak kitchen from 1998 on the website, probably not the best choice.
Yeah, even just everybody listening to this, of going back and looking at your website with some fresh eyes. Oh, do I really still have that project up? Or even what you did, because Lou, I'm seeing where you're analytical and you're looking at the facts and the numbers. And not only is that maybe an old project, but nobody's even clicking on it. Nobody's interested in it. I get rid of that. Now there's fewer things for people to, be concerned with, or, putting projects on there that they're actually interested in. It's a unique thought.
Yeah. Okay. One thing we did early on in the year, this was pre-COVID, but we built out a number of landing pages.
Okay.
And so it takes a few months for things to get traction with Google. But a lot of those things have kicked in, and they kicked in just in time there, in May, June, as things were starting to recover a little bit and people were getting a little more confident.
Mm-hmm.
So we built
tell
up.
people about the strategy of that. So keywords, or how did you go about the landing pages?
Yeah, so landing pages, geographic and project specific.
Okay.
Because when you're in a big metro area, if you're in a small town of 50 or 100,000 people, you have a website, it's going to rank for everything. But when you're in a metro area with 1 million people, or in the Greater Toronto area that has almost 7 million people, that's the fifth largest metropolis in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Your website is not, your front page is not going to show up on the first page of Google for bathroom renovations, for house additions, whatever it is.
Right.
You cannot
Competition's
you cannot
high.
stuff all that content into the first page, and certainly not with all the municipalities. I mean, there's 30 municipalities that form the Greater Toronto area. We don't serve all of them, but we serve 15 of them.
Yep.
There's no way that you can put all that content into one page. So you make a specific page for each municipality, for each service. So we've started building out landing pages for the municipalities we want to target and for the types of services we want to target.
Okay. So, and that is kind of there's always more work to be done there, but are you having that professionally done? Is your website designer doing that for you, or?
No, I do that myself. So it's
Okay.
a WordPress website. It's very easy for me to pull up the template and put in the content I want. It takes me an hour to put up a landing page.
Okay. So getting after it and saying, you know what, I want to be shown under, I'm going to try a hard one. I'm looking at the bottom of your website. Mississauga. Did I nail that?
Yeah, you did.
Mississauga
Absolutely.
kitchen renovation. And, I'm not going to be super obnoxious with stuffing the keywords in there, but I'm going to talk about Mississauga. Did I say it right the second time? Kitchen remodeling, and where I'm going to maybe feature a project that we did there, and just add content. And then you're not necessarily an expert website designer, but you know enough, and WordPress is savvy enough where I'm going to put those keywords in there. I'm going to make sure my title is following some of those keywords. I've got a good description that's behind the scenes, and you just taught yourself some of the basics.
Right. And I've been doing this for years, but in June and July, our website traffic was up 100% over the same time last year.
Wow.
And part of that is COVID, people sitting at home having nothing to do. So they're on Google, but even now with people back to work, September was still up 50% over last year. Good. So we got 50% more people coming to our website than we did a year ago. Excellent.
Again, I got to reiterate, he's paying attention to the numbers. He's not saying, well, I think. You actually are dealing with numbers, and when you're dealing with the numbers, it encourages you and go, wow, these landing pages are actually generating traffic, and it encourages you to create the next one and the next one. Whoever just walked in, they don't know that you're live in front of millions of remodelers right now.
They have no idea.
They have no idea. Like, hey, this isn't just, I'm not just sitting at my desk. I'm live in front of these people. By the way, people that I see y'all watching this, click some likes. Throw out some questions out there. So on the marketing, we've got newsletter and some strategy there. We've got cleaned up website. You steered some strategy there. You've also encouraged people that said these landing pages are working and shared a little bit of the strategy there. What's some of the other marketing items that you're having success with?
Yeah, Facebook and Facebook community groups. So I kind of fell into this one by accident as I joined a Facebook community group late last year in the town I live in, just to try and keep up with the trends and see what's going on. Things that don't make the media, find out what the neighbors are talking about. Yeah. And I found that they allowed businesses to advertise on this page 1 day a week.
Interesting.
And there's 4,000 subscribers to this community Facebook page. And a few businesses were taking advantage of it, but very few. So I would start to throw on a picture once a week, or every couple of weeks I'd throw on a picture. It would get a few likes. They got some website traffic. I thought, this is cool. And then in January, we actually got a lead from throwing up a picture. And since then, I have expanded to where I follow 10 community Facebook groups that allow businesses to post once a week in the towns in the, on the fringes of the Greater Toronto area. And so we post once a week to each one of these groups. And we have generated, where's my chicken scratch here? But I think we've generated 40 plus leads this year from Facebook.
And from as far as the quality of those community group leads, what would you call their quality?
So they are for smaller projects. They're not in their typical wheelhouse of the 50 to 500 that we normally do. Although I've got a number of large renovation leads and house addition leads from it. But the great thing is that I got a lot of deck construction leads. And so I was able to keep my carpenters busy all summer.
Wow.
In June, July, and August building decks, because we couldn't get building permits, but we could keep on, and it was outdoor work. So the guys like working outdoors. So they like the sunshine. They like not being indoors with the virus going on.
Yeah.
And it was generating revenue, and we do well with decks. We also tried building a couple of fences, figured out fences, not such a good idea. We're not going to do that anymore.
Okay.
But we're going to keep on building decks. And we got we got a couple of other smaller projects, but I have 2 sales calls next week. One's for $150,000, potentially $150,000 project, and the other one's probably a $200,000, $300,000 house addition. Both Facebook leads.
Wow. So I'm hearing a couple things here. One, Bailey commented, community groups are awesome. In my community, people ask in Williamston, beautiful Williamston, Michigan. People ask for recommendations regularly. So that's an aspect of it. People saying, hey, do you know anybody? So you're probably seeing some of that. But again, Lou, I like how, and we don't know each other super well, so I'm getting to know you and your personality and kind of how you approach business as we're talking here. But another thing that I'm just seeing a similarity of is, I tested this, and I saw some things. I learned just by getting involved that, one day a week, they're like, hey, businesses, go ahead and promote this one day. Don't do it on the other days. And you saw the success on one of them, and you go, let's see how I can replicate it. Very similar to the landing pages, right? Okay, if I'm having success doing this like this, I can create more of them. So these community groups are not something I've dove into a ton, but I've heard a lot of my clients talking about them in the mom-to-mom boards. And the key thing you said there is I found 10 of them out of maybe 50 that allow businesses to get involved and post on there, and we're staying active in there, and we're being consistent. And even if they're not generating, always great leads, you have a sales process. You can qualify them. You can point them in a different direction if you're not a good fit. But it's working. It's working for you.
It's working. It is.
Somebody just said, looking good, Lou. Keep killing it.
Yeah. So the one thing I learned is when people ask for a recommendation, if I go and put my name in there, nobody calls me. Even a lot of times, if other people put my name in there, I still don't get the call. But what I found is when I do that once a week post where I put up a picture, and we've played with a number of different things, and this was a big one as well. Like we put collages up. We tried to promote virtual design at the start of COVID when everything had a hard shutdown. Those things got no traction. But the one thing people love is before and after pictures. When we do, a square and half of it is before and half of it is after, people love the before and after pictures.
So even that, you're saying, I'm not putting up content that I think is good, that I like. You're paying attention to what's working and giving them more of that. By the way, this was Chris Payson. Do you know Chris?
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Chris has chimed in occasionally on here. He's never told me I'm looking good. What's up with that? Only Lou's looking good. I mean, he could throw out Kyle. You're looking all right too. You shaved.
Chris and I were in the Remodelers Advantage group together back in 2016 and 2017.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So
back to this community Facebook groups, because I know some people are going to jump on this one. So a few things I learned from it. Posting Saturdays, bad. People are busy on Saturdays. They don't look at Facebook. Great time to post, if the group will let you, is Sunday morning, 8, 9 a.m., because they roll out of bed, they look at Facebook, spend a few hours on social media, or Sunday evening is good.
Well, they're supposed to be at church, Lou, but fair enough.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
the church is shut down just like everything else is.
It's true.
Yeah. The other thing I found out, if you look at a weekend and you have a good weather day, a bad weather day, post on the bad weather day. So if Saturday's going to rain, Sunday's going to be nice, post on the Saturday. Break the Saturday rule, post on the Saturday. But look at the weather, look at the day of the week. There's some groups that only let us post on a weekday, like on a Monday or a Wednesday. Don't post at 12 noon, because by the time they get home and look at Facebook, that post is going to be buried deep down in their Facebook feed.
Good stuff.
Or don't even post at 5 o'clock. Post at 7 o'clock when they're done their dinner, or post at 8 o'clock. So it means you have to spend some time after hours, but it gets results.
Right. Very cool. Excellent. So I've heard newsletter, landing pages, Facebook community groups. The Remodeler Show cruise is on by. We got 5-6 minutes here. Hit us with a few more. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the newsletter. I got a lead last week from a lady who signed up for our newsletter 4 years ago. She's been on our list for 4 years, reading our newsletter. Finally, reached out and said, "I'm ready to do my kitchen."
I love that.
Yeah.
Right, planting that seed. There was something that they came across your website. They signed up. You've been building know, like, and trust. Marketing is all about getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you, and that's what you've been doing. You've been consistent, and I love that marketing approach. I mean, it's fun sometimes to get that quick hit of boom, they've never heard of us and they had a need and we found them, but that nurturing is very powerful.
Yeah, so now we're changing our Facebook and we're starting to focus on the larger projects. In the summer, I was posting a lot of deck pictures, and that got us a lot of work. It was instant work. It was, you go and see them, they sign a construction agreement, you're building it next week, keeping the guys busy. But now I've shifted my focus where I'm focusing on the open concept renovations. I'm focusing on the house additions, kind of trying to hit the 100,000 plus projects. And I know my Facebook leads are going to drop off, but now's the time to target the projects that we really want to be doing, rather than
strategy.
So back in the summer, we were kind of, focusing on almost out of desperation of, because we don't know what we're doing 2 weeks from now.
Sure.
So we were kind of focusing out of desperation and just trying to drive everything in. Now we're trying to rein back the leads, and I don't need 300 leads a year or 400 leads a year. So trying to rein it back and focus on the big stuff.
A little more quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
Excellent. What else do you have on that magic sheet that you prepared?
Yeah, so one thing that we look at is I've been looking at what the conversion rates are for our website, because I look at this massive amount of traffic we get in, and what just seems like a low number of leads. But we have over 2% of the people that come to our website take some sort of action, whether it's to sign up for an ebook. By the way, we have an ebook on house additions.
Okay.
So either signing up for the ebook or signing up for a newsletter, or submitting a project inquiry. It's over 2%, and I reviewed that with a marketing company that focuses on remodelers, because they had reached out to us and offered a free website review, and I was thinking maybe my conversion rates were too low, and they were suggesting they could double our conversion rates. And when I told them I'm doing over 2%, they're like, "I don't think we can help you."
I was going to say that's really strong. Yeah, and again, I'm just appreciating, and it's firing me up to just keep saying, like, you're tracking it. You know what's working, which is allowing you to adjust and pivot. Listen to all these little things you're talking about. This is 21st century, 2020 marketing, where you're like, I noticed that it's quieter when I post at noon, when I do this. Like, these little things matter, don't they?
They do. And so we track, back to Facebook, we track, what picture we posted on which group every week. Whew. We track how many likes it got. We track how many comments it got, how many shares it got. So we can see, and we've dropped a couple of Facebook groups that just didn't have high levels of engagement or a good number of reach. Reach is something. On some groups, you can also track how many people you reached with your post. So how many eyeballs it got.
Yeah.
So we take a look. We take a look and see. And some pictures. Sometimes I look at a picture and I think this is a great picture, and people just don't like the angle. It gets no likes. I'll post the same kitchen the following week from a different angle, and it gets so many more likes and so much more reach.
Cool.
So it's interesting that way as well to see, even just what people react to in real time.
Good.
Which
so if you were
don't get to see in other places.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you were to rapid fire, do you have other ideas that you could rapid fire? Because we're winding down on time, but I wanted you to rapid fire. Hey, also consider this, this, and this. If you had a few things there, do you have a few more things? If not,
No,
I guess
those are the big ones for us.
Excellent, excellent. So if that's the case, how I kind of want to close this out is, as you think about the things that you shared, or you think about the remodelers that are listening to this, hey, if you heard nothing else in what I said, I would really encourage you guys to lean into fill in the blank. What's kind of that top thing that you're thinking of? And then I'll share kind of my big takeaway too.
Yeah, so the number one thing is website content. Content. Except for pictures, when it comes to text, landing pages, blog posts, you can never have enough content. You can never have too much content. I think our website's over 200 pages, and I would really like to bring it up to 400 pages.
Okay. And when you say content, are you answering questions? Are you educating? How would you summarize that?
Yeah, some of it is education, some of it is answering questions, and some of it is just straight up landing pages to target certain areas and just to make sure we rank on page 1 of Google.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a combination of two.
Just looking at your website, you click on the blog, 10 tips to design the perfect home office, tips for renovating during COVID-19. Just a lot of content that's real and that's timely. So your big takeaway was like, hey, work on your content. And I share that a lot of, yes, you're a remodeler, yes, you're a renovator, but you're also a content creator. That's what a business owner in 2020 and certainly going forward needs to be, whether you're doing it or whether you have somebody in your team that's doing it.
The other one is pictures. You got to have good pictures. You got to have professional photography on your website. Don't be snapping your own pictures with your iPhone and putting I mean, if you really don't have a choice, do that, but get the pro photos, because I have sold projects to professional photographers and they have commented on the pictures on my website and they're like, you've got pro photos on your website and I want you to do my renovation project.
They notice the attention to detail.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So the website is king. Like 90% of your time should be spent on your website, in my opinion.
Excellent.
And number 2 is if you can post to some community groups, if you can do something there, it's free. There's no cost to it. It's just your time.
Yeah.
I spend an hour on it a week, and 40 leads.
So I got 2 takeaways if you heard nothing else. Number 1 is, the community groups pop up from time to time. You've seen them, or if you're not on Facebook too much, maybe your spouse has been on there. But every town, every city has a set of these Facebook groups. I don't even care about you posting on them, but a good takeaway would be you ought to research them. Click through there, see what people are talking about, see what rules they have. Just do some searching on there, and then you're going to say, wow, there's 4,000 people in this Brighton, Michigan Facebook group. People that are in a Brighton, Michigan Facebook group are probably live here, right? And all of a sudden you realize, oh, they allow businesses to post on Fridays. Participate in it, also contribute to it, but do some research and just see what's out there, because that's going to get you fired up. And then the second big takeaway, and Lou, it was kind of fun getting to know you through this, and I've seen you post on Remodelers Community, but we've never spoken before, is I feel like I got a little insight into how you roll during this call. And I saw somebody that, we talk about knowing your numbers a lot of times as a remodeler, and knowing your numbers when it comes to financials. But you, my man, know your numbers when it comes to marketing. You're tracking what is working, what is not working, you're tweaking. And that is something that people need to hear. We've got to devote some time towards tracking our leads, where they're coming from, because when you measure it, it gets improved, and you can be very wise with the hard-earned dollars that you're investing in marketing. So I think we had some good takeaways today, sir. That was a very valuable contribution that you made to your fellow remodelers and renovators, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. It's
you
been
bet.
fun.
All right, we will talk to you again soon. And then for all of you people watching the Remodeler Show, I think I'll be back at it, I do believe, next Monday. So look forward to seeing you guys there. And thank you so much, Lou.
Thank you.
It's ending broadcast. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. But it's not doing it yet.
We're still here.
Okay. We might still be here. If we're still here and it's still live, Lou, thank you so much. I got to get scooting, and we'll be in touch, I'm sure, in the coming weeks and months.
Sounds good. I'm going to shut it down on my end.
All right. Thanks a lot.